KGVO Missoula, KGVO FM Frenchtown, AM 1290 and 101.5 FM. Sports Talk Tonight and streaming online at Newstalk, KGVO.com.
Well, good evening, Denny. It was supposed to be rainy, supposed to be sunny, thunder, lightning, snow, who knows?
Tomorrow. We'll get you lots of those things tomorrow. It's supposed to be take about a 20-degree drop, strong winds, 100% chance of rain. My goodness.
Be it that what it may, it that whatever. This is still Sports Talk Tonight with Gerns and Bedard live from the KGVO studios. Remember, we are streaming worldwide on Newstalk.KGVO.com. On the AM side of the dial, 1290. Over on the FM, 101.5. Follow us on Twitter at Sports Talk Back. Our phone number is 721-1290. You might want to use that tonight. Denny, first time we're being, recorded, and we're going to be on Yoo-Hoo or something? Yahoo? Used to drink Yoo-Hoo.
We're going to have a bottle of Yoo-Hoo, Gerns.
Cool.
If I know what I'm doing, we're finally going to start archiving these shows on the KGVO website YouTube channel. That's what I'm working on. I see us over there. I see our wave files bouncing, so I must be doing something right.
Wow. How high are mine bouncing?
They're way off. Yeah, they're off the charts over there. So
Sports Talk Tonight, Denny, brought to you in part by Bell McCall Ford. Great selection of new and used cars, trucks, and SUVs on sale now. Well-equipped new 2015 Ford Focus, save $4,580. Yours for only $16,995 down there in Bell McCall Ford.
All right.
Denny.
Well, we should mention our guests live in studio. We're expecting Michael in about 10 minutes here. It's made an awful lot of not just sports news, but regular news. Michael Burks, and you and I were trying to say, we don't know yet. So, well, how do we identify him? Because doesn't own the Missoula Maulers anymore because the franchise no longer exists. Missoula Maulers has been dissolved. There were some disagreements and controversy involving the Missoula Area Youth Hockey League and the Glacier Ice Rink and all of that. And so we will find out more about that. We'll talk to Michael about that this evening.
It's kind of like when the Backstreet Boys split up, Denny. They're, formerly of the Backstreet Boys.
That's exactly what.
And for those of you who don't know who the Backstreet Boys are, they're on Yoo-Hoo too. Oh, I'm full of it, Denny, aren't I?
Yeah. Hey, we should mention, we'll give people, most of the time, once you've locked in and you tune in the first minute of this show, you are mandated, you're required by law to listen to the show in its entirety, but we'll give you a hall pass for the last part of the show if you're making your way over to the Special Olympics ceremonies. Montana Special Olympics in Missoula for the second of 3 years. I did find out that's how that arrangement works, is that it takes turns in different cities in Montana every 3 years. So we'll have it again next year, but I was told, and I guess I saw a little footage that those opening ceremonies are pretty cool. They are something to see, and they're doing them in Washington Grizzly Stadium. Our Peter Christian,
I was just going to say, is the MC.
He's doing part of that tonight.
Somebody.
The place is going to be packed. I mean, I'll tell you that right now, is if you're going to go to them, you might want to start making your way because, as I understand it, there are some huge crowds. Now, you don't have student parking anymore. For one thing, it's after 6 at night, but also the students are gone now because graduation ceremony was Saturday, so there's more parking, but there's going to be a lot of people over there.
I was just going to say, somebody backed out from the MC duties, and Peter Christian was kind enough to throw his hat in the ring, and that's pretty awesome. I was listening to Peter. You know what? A little off the subject. I kind of not because it's our radio station, but I enjoy listening to Peter Christian do the news from, is it 7 to 8?
No, it is from 6 till 8:30.
Okay,
and then they go into their local talk show.
Okay.
He and John King do their talkback program from 8:30 to 10. So basically, he's talking nonstop for dang near 4 hours there. So that is not an easy gig, and he does it well. Has to get here about 2 or 3 in the morning. I don't know.
I was driving up to Thompson Falls this morning, and I heard on the news, and sorry to hear this, Len up there at the Mission Mountain Mercantile burned to the ground last night. In fact, in my Coca-Cola duties, I was in that store.
No kidding.
At about noon, talking with the owner, and
what a shame.
And 12 hours later, the things. So it wasn't me.
No,
I'm telling you. But sorry about that.
Yeah, sorry. That is a tough deal.
But I was listening to Peter tell me, and it was it was cool.
Upcoming guests. I thought it was going to be June 1st, but I guess it's June 8th, so it's still a few weeks down the road. Justin Barnes, who is the new general manager of Grizzly Sports Properties, doing business as Learfield Sports, but Justin, pretty new to the job. He's been on the job, I think, a couple months. We finally got to meet. We had lunch together and chitty-chatted last week. But he meant, when he said the first week of June, he didn't realize that June 1st was a Wednesday. And so he said, well, can we be on June 8th? And we figure that by then there will be named a new voice of Grizzly football and men's basketball.
He can be your co-host that night.
That's right. That's the one you're gone.
Dang
yeah,
it.
All right.
Always miss the good stuff.
I was planning to invite house band member Eric Tabor to fill in for you, and hopefully fill in for me when I'm gone on the 27th or whatever that is, that last Wednesday in June. So
yes.
Yeah. But anyway, that's what's going on tonight, Special Olympics. Gurns, speaking of house band members, we would be remiss if we do have trivia coming up here pretty quick, folks, but we'd be remiss if we didn't say congrats to the coach, Jamie Pinkerton.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, talk about a pretty dang cool second-year program, and make it to the Big Sky Championships. They win a game and make Montana proud.
Yeah, they won a couple games, and to be named Big Sky Conference Coach of the Year after just 2 seasons, that's not too bad.
No, that's all right. 3 girls named to the Alternate team.
Yep.
And we talked about, I think there was 4 or 5 named to the all-conference team.
Somewhere in there, yeah.
The week before, but they go down there and what, they beat Southern Utah on
Let's see.
Thursday?
They beat Southern Utah in the opener, and then they had to play the number 1 seed and host team, Weber State. They got thumped pretty good in that game. And so now they're in the loser-out bracket. It's double elimination.
Portland State
came back and won their 3rd game over Portland State. Put a lot of runs on the board. They did that a lot this year, but unfortunately they had a tendency to give up a lot of runs too, and that's what they did with Sacramento State. Sacramento State is the team that eliminated them. Weber State went on to win. They were the top seed, and they got to host the tournament. They went on to win it. They're representing the Big Sky Conference, and I think they play the University of Washington in Seattle. Seattle got a pretty high seed, so that's where they went. But, hey, 2-year-old program, we'll take that, you know.
Yes, we will. And another great performance by a Grizzly sport, the track team.
Yeah.
At the Outdoor Championships.
Yeah,
the
excellent.
men finished 2nd place this year, which is their highest finish in, I don't know, quite a while. So congratulations to Brian Schwain and the troops over there, and congratulations to Erica McLeod on the girls' side. She wins the heptathlon. 5,541 points scored in the championship contest, was the most scored since 1988.
Man.
And she's only a sophomore.
And what else? Doug Leffler predicts. When we had Doug Leffler in here talking about the training that he did with former Montana Grizzly wide receiver, 1-year wonder, because he spent most of his college career as a baseball player at Washington State. Ben Roberts went to rookie camp?
Yeah,
It was a rookie camp, right?
It was a tryout, basically.
It was a tryout.
Yeah,
and
not on the roster, just an invited guy. And now he is on the roster.
What a beast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Signs a contract with the Tennessee Titans, so we wanted to say congratulations to Ben, too.
Hey,
I read he's going to wear number 12, I guess.
Good things happen to people that come on our show. That's just what
yes,
happens.
Yeah, there is that. So.
And you know what? It's cool because all you have to do is show a little something to somebody, make a few catches, show some speed, show some toughness.
That's all you have to do.
And somebody, wait a minute. No, that didn't quite work out for me. And have some talent, too.
Yeah.
But congratulations, Ben.
Yeah. I hope he does well with that. So, later on in the show, we'll do our Preakness picks, of course. Hopefully we'll do a little better than, hopefully Gurns will do a little better than he did with the Kentucky Derby picks. So,
I have to do better because there's only 10 horses.
That's right, yeah.
When you pick
you've doubled your chances because there was 20 in the Kentucky Derby.
It is pretty tough to pick the 14th, the 15th, and the 20th place horse in a race.
It really is.
It really is.
That took a special skill right there. I guess I hadn't looked at it that way.
There's probably a prop bet down in Vegas that I could have won on that.
Had not put that spin on there. So, so that's all coming up, too, on Sports Talk tonight.
All right, Denny, hey, why don't we get to the trivia before we have on our special guest, Michael Burks?
Let's do it. We've got Sports Talk Tonight trivia. If you know the answer, the number to call 721-1290. And that is brought to you by Fuddruckers, world's greatest hamburgers. You start with premium beef. Buns you make from scratch every single day right there at Fuddruckers, and you get to go top it yourself. Whatever you order off that menu, you go over to those prep tables and you fix it up just right to make it the world's greatest. They've also got a nice selection of local microbrews, incredible milkshakes, at Fuddruckers on North Reserve. $10 gift certificate. And the Works Car Wash. We are getting fancy now. Brent said, no, I'm going to upgrade you to the Works. So Brent and the crew at Happy Days Car Wash, a Works Car Wash, voted Missoulians' favorite in the latest Reader's Poll again this year. Happy Days on Brooks across from Hastings, and on Brooks by Guest House Inn and Suites. The one out by Guest House also has the dog wash. And from Sport Clips, it's good to be a guy. Sport Clips Haircuts. They are located on at 3850 Reserve Street, kind of at Brooks and Reserve by the new Cabela's and Mackenzie River Pizza and all that. A gift card, it looks like a ticket, an admission ticket. It's pretty cool. For a free haircut for a new client, or $5 off an MVP haircut experience for returning clients. So we got all of that at 721-1290. If you know the answer to Sports Talk.
Do tell, Denny.
Gurns, if there is clamping, a pocket, an unsettled situation, a roll dodge, and a Gilman clear, are we playing A, polo, B, high-lie, C, lacrosse, or D, beer pong? If there's clamping, a pocket, an unsettled situation, a roll dodge, and a Gilman clear, are we playing A, polo, B, high-lie, C, lacrosse, or D, beer pong? Do you know? 721-1290. We need a winner right now.
I remember watching High-Lie at the start of the Miami Vice. Remember that? They play High-Lie.
Oh, yeah, it was part of the intro.
Yeah. And I don't know what the heck that is still.
Well, maybe yes, maybe no. 721-1290.
Sports Talk tonight brought to you in part by Orange Street Food Farm, locally owned and operated grocery store featuring the freshest fruits and vegetables, fresh meats, and a great beer and wine selection. And Grizzly Liquor, located downtown next to the Iron Horse. Big Sky, big selection, online at grizzlyliquor.com. We will take a quick break, and when we come back, Michael Burks and our trivia winner on Sports Talk tonight. Denny, I do believe you have a winner.
Yeah, a lot of people playing tonight. Let's see. We're going over here. I believe that's the right line to say hi to Wayne Hyatt. How you doing this evening there, Wayne?
Really good.
All right. Are you a Sports Talk Tonight regular, or did you just accidentally stumble upon us?
No, I listen to it on my way home usually.
All right. Hey,
how you doing, Wayne?
Good, Scott. How are you?
I'm doing good, man.
Oh, you guys are chums, acquaintances, huh? All right. Well, it took a few tries, Wayne. You're about the fifth or sixth guy that got in, but you had the right answer. If there's clamping, a pocket, an unsettled situation, a roll dodge, and a Gilman clear, are we playing A, polo, B, high-lie, or C, lacrosse, or D, beer pong? What the heck? What do you think, Wayne?
C, lacrosse.
Hey, the reason I brought that one up is because there's lacrosse in Missoula this weekend. We wanted to say good luck to the Hellgate High School boys lacrosse team defending their state title this weekend for about the umpteenth time, I think. About 21 teams in town, both boys and girls varsity and JV teams. Action will take place at Dornblazer, I believe, the River Bowl, and the championships. Those kids get to play in Washington Grizzly Stadium on Sunday. So, high school lacrosse in town, so there'll be a lot of clamping and unsettled situations and Gilman clears and I don't know what all there, Wayne.
Yeah, we'll go for Sentinel.
Okay. You can do that. We don't mind. Hey, I got your mailing address, and we really appreciate you listening to the show. I will get your trivia prize package mailed out to you tonight, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Wayne Hyatt, our latest winner there, Gurns.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, you were talking about the clear. I thought you were talking about steroids or something, the clear, you rub it on. Remember that stuff you used to do when you were bodybuilding?
Well, I don't know. I still don't know what a Gilman clear is. I just know that's one of the terms. Well, so I didn't look that close.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, hey, in studio with us now, presented by TC Glass. For all your commercial and residential glass needs, find them on Facebook or on the web at tcglassinc.com. Pleased to have with us Michael Burks, formerly of the Missoula Maulers.
Yeah.
What the heck? Welcome, man.
Yeah, we weren't quite sure how to word that.
How do you do that, huh?
Yeah.
Hello there.
Yeah. Well, you know where I would like to start. I mean, I know it was only 9 years, I guess, but it just seems so much longer than that. How did that hockey team come to be? Let's go back that far.
How did it come to be?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's the first question. Wow. I've had a lot of questions this week, and nobody's really asked that. So interesting. I wasn't ready for that. Let me get into
Sure.
that mode.
All right.
Actually, I had a girl was working for me, and she was dating a gentleman who played GHL hockey like I did. We're both adults in the adult hockey league.
All right.
And she just mentioned that his dream was to have a junior hockey team. And I've never been a diehard hockey fan whatsoever. I grew up in L.A. I like the Kings, but wasn't really into it. I was more of a Dodgers, Angels, Rams, Raiders, Lakers kind of a guy. So, I enjoyed the sport playing it, but I really didn't know anything about junior hockey. And so we went and had some dinner, and he explained to me how it worked and that there were teams in Coeur d'Alene, in Butte, in Helena, in Bozeman, in Billings. And again, this is a world that I didn't even know about. So I started doing some homework and started doing some investigation as far as how many people play in the Glacier Ice League, how many people are in the youth hockey, how many people, what time the games are and everything. And I found out that there were about 1,400 people total that played hockey in Missoula. So just in doing the research, most junior hockey teams average about 100 to 150 people a game. So I figured it's kind of a no-brainer if the average attendance is that, and there's 1,400 people that play hockey. I got to think that we could 10% of those people coming and bringing their kids. I got 500 people right there. So we went over to Spokane and got a hold of the general manager of the Spokane Chiefs, and he allowed us to come over there and just do a complete backstage tour on how all the operations work on and off the ice, game day operations, and the WHL is 2 or 3 steps ahead of us, but a show's a show. It's just a different level of hockey, but pretty much it's a hockey game played in front of people. So we kind of got kind of an inside look as far as how the operations worked in the Chiefs, and it was very interesting because I'm a very analytical person that sees numbers, sees potential, sees everything else, and I don't really, I don't see a lot of emotion or any of that kind of stuff that comes along with it. I just see the potential. There's a hole to be filled, and wow, I can be the one to fill it. Well, as we were in the locker room, just meeting all the players and stuff like that, these are the same as the Missoula Mall, are same age. They're 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old kids. And, when they take off all that gear, they're $125 soaking wet. They're not big kids at all.
Like me, right?
Yeah.
25.
Yeah, I like you.
So, I'm just meeting all these kids and just, introducing, what have you, met the coach, did the thing, blah, blah, blah. And so we walk out of the locker room after the game, and I got 30 people shoving a piece of paper in my face to sign autographs. And they're taking pictures of it. And Corey Miller is the gentleman, we kind of like, we're nobody, what do you want? What the heck's going on? And I stopped right there and then, and there were about 150 people waiting for autographs for these 16 and 17-year-old kids. And at that point, it dawned on me that we could make a difference. It's not just a business entity. It's a matter of actually creating something to help the kids have something to work towards or have a, role model or anything else. Not to mention the fact that I lived my first 8 years here was in Arlee. I didn't live in Missoula. And believe it or not, yes, I could not afford to live in Missoula. I came to Montana 6 figures broke, in debt, the whole thing. I didn't come from any money. So I lived in a double wide trailer in Arlee on an acre for the first 7 or 8 years of my life living in Montana. And the thing I noticed there was nothing for kids. All they did was drink. That was it. I mean, because Arlee's Arlee, nothing against it. There's just nothing to do up there. And so I saw the results of not having something for kids to do. And that was before I met Corey. That was before everything. So I've always had in the back of my head that it would be really cool to put something together to have people and kids and high schoolers, instead of hanging out at keggers, they can come to something that will keep them out of trouble. So after going to that Chiefs game and seeing the unbelievable response to these teenagers playing hockey, it was a no-brainer. And so we came back. We negotiated a lease with the Glacier Ice Rink, which was favorable for 9 years. I can joke about it now, right?
Hey, it's your segment of the show.
Yeah,
You
no doubt,
handle
right?
it any way you want to, man.
So we sat down with the Glacier Ice Rink, who at the time I think had, again, there were a lot of user groups, but obviously not as many now. They had, I think, 30 GHL teams. I mean, for what they had there, which was basically a slab of ice on dirt, it was decent. I mean, it was pretty impressive, actually. We were playing games at 11:45 at night because there was no ice time 9 years ago. And so we got everything dialed in. And so Corey, who was the person who wanted to do this, he already knew the ins and outs as far as getting the team started, as far as with the league, getting all the due diligence done with, at the time, NORPAC is who we went with.
Did you just have to apply
You have
for
to
a franchise? Or?
Yeah, and the thing is we couldn't even apply for a franchise because we didn't have the qualifications of the rink. So they came and saw the rink and said, no way. And so at that point, I sat down with the Glacier Ice Rink and said, here's the deal. We can't have a team. We don't have this, and this. So I'm going to build it for you so I can have this team come. As anybody does, they said, what? And I said, yeah, I want to be able to do this because, if it's just a matter of having, bleachers and locker rooms, concessions, all that kind of stuff, I don't want to stop that from us having something that I just saw happen in Spokane. And now, mind you, again, the average attendance in Butte for the Rough Riders was 10. The average, for Bozeman was 100. And Helena wiped the table for everybody, so they had a fan base there, but it wasn't consistent because they would come in and they would beat Butte 20-0, and so nobody would come to the Butte games. Missoula actually is what catapulted their attendance because that rivalry became so electric. So then Corey did all the league meetings and all the political
And
stuff.
the name of that league was that?
That was the Northern Pacific Hockey League, NORPAC.
Okay.
That was our
All right.
team. And that team, that league had teams in Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Montana. Cody wasn't in yet, so in Montana. It was just two different divisions. One was in the west, one was the east, and obviously we'd be on the east side. And I believe Coeur d'Alene was the farthest west team in our division. So he did all the legwork. I mean, he did all the applications and what have you. And then I supervised the ring construction as well as my job was the marketing. So it was the logo, the name, the colors, the advertising, just basically to get the word out. And it was crazy because we announced it, I believe, in December. And the next season was going to be in, obviously start in October in the fall the following year. So we had 10 months to find a coach, 25 players, get everything dialed in. And that was Corey's job. Corey found the coach who recruited and brought the team in. And it's always kind of been that situation where, I've had to deal with all my coaches. We've had 3 here since day one. My job is to get him in the seats, and your job is to keep him in the seats. If you put a crap team on there, I can't do anything about it. So, I did whatever I could to get people in the barn. So we created the website and everything else. And, the logo itself probably took 4 months because back then they didn't have Photoshop. It was an artist. No, I don't like that.
Forth.
Yeah, it was
forth.
like, seriously. It wasn't like, the Cobras logo took literally 12 minutes because we went to, I went to Stitches and over their head, I want a snake. I want this. No, make it meaner. No, not so mean. It was really easy because you had, the tools to do that.
Cobras being the nickname of the Butte team.
The Butte team.
Yeah.
So, but the Maulers logo literally took months just because it was over and over and over again. So finally once we got the logo done, then we went mass production on apparel. Just mass production on apparel. And it was really crazy because I remember going to Karis Park around July, I think it was, and there were people wearing Mahler's hats, Mahler's shirts. They didn't even know what it was, but they were wearing it. So I was kind of getting a feeling like, hey, this might actually pick up. I mean, this might actually happen here. At that time, again, there weren't even any players in town yet. Like, we didn't have a team. We were recruiting and all that kind of stuff, but it's really hard to recruit a first-year team just because, it's a first year inside the city, and a majority of the players in this country, they don't consider Montana as a hockey hotbed. It's Minnesota, it's Chicago, it's L.A., Denver. Those are the places where you go. So it was really hard to field a team. They weren't very good, but they made the playoffs, so I got to give them credit for that. Coach Swearingen, his philosophy was it doesn't matter if you win or lose as long as you have at least a fight a game. So
Hanson, you need some Hanson brothers on your team.
Like you and me, girl.
There you go. Yeah.
So I got to give it to Coach Swearingen. The team wasn't very good, but holy smokes, they could fight. So it was like every game there was a line brawl or something, and so that helped. The bottom line is, if you're not good, at least you put on a show. So it was very interesting because we had a website, and 9 or 10 years ago, people weren't comfortable putting their credit card on the internet. So we had an online system, we had an online ticket system, we had all that stuff going on, and we made it very public that get your tickets online, blah 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 blah. I remember we had 10 tickets pre-sold for the home opener, and I was freaking out to no end because you can imagine how much money's been invested in all of this stuff to bring this team in. And my head was down. But, opening night, we got there, we set it up. We have no idea how to set it up. We're like, well, I think the beer should go there. I think this should go here. It was just basically just punt and see what happens. And I remember opening the doors at 6:30, and there was maybe 6 or 7 people out there, and I was like, "Oh my Lord! Like, this is bad stuff."
Puck drops at 7:30.
7:30.
Yeah,
but the thing is the hockey community or the Missoula community had no idea that there's warm ups and everything else. They're just used to baseball. Baseball starts at 7:30, or the football game's at whatever else, and you hear the cannon at the Grizz game. The game starts. Getting to a hockey game early isn't protocol, but it is now. People understand now because you have warm-ups, you have everything going on with it. You have a beer while they're doing warm-ups and everything else. So it's 6:30, 6:35, 6:40, and there's nobody coming to this thing. And it was like the egg on the face times 100, and I'm just in the corner shaking my head. My mom flew up, my stepdad flew up, and it was just like, oh my Lord. And then, so we had the system set up, and at the time the internet wasn't the fastest because they didn't have high speed and optical cable and everything. So we have this online system, and it's wireless. So, we have wands that scan tickets and what have you. So it's very slow. And credit cards running is very slow. Back in the day, you're waiting 15 minutes for a credit card to clear, right? So people start lining up and lining up and lining up and lining up. And so I'm dealing with problem 432 of the night on the other side of the rink, and I get somebody pull my arm and go, "You need to get out here now." I was like, oh, my God, what now? And I go out there, and there's a line that goes all the way out to South Avenue from the door. Literally the entire way to get into the fairgrounds, there is a line of people waiting. And it was like, oh, my Lord, what are we going to do? Because there's no way we can collect that much money one by one by one by one. So we literally had 5 people come out there and just take people's money. And I don't even know if everybody paid. It was just open the doors, let everybody in, and just take as much money as you can. And we all walked in with thousands of dollars in our hands. It looked like we were robbing them because we had no idea what to expect. And we had over 2,000 people show up to the home opener at $10 a person.
Yeah.
It was seriously, we were walking around with wads of cash on us, and our pockets were, it was just one of those things. Like, I wish we had videos of it because it was hilarious, and we had no idea what to do. And so it was like, as soon as your arms were full of money, you run inside, you put it in this thing, and you go back outside to take some more. I wish it was like that for all 9 years. I would actually made some money, right?
Yeah.
So, the home opener was it, and then once that happened, we couldn't even walk in there. It was just awesome. It was just, and the funny thing is when the team came down the stairs the very first time ever, it was a semi-full house. Because nobody was in. Like, literally, the puck dropped, and everybody was out in the parking lot waiting to get in. So when the team came down the second time, it was deafening. Like, welcome to Missoula Maulers, and it was just you couldn't hear yourself think in there. It was like an AC/DC concert. It was just this deafening thing. And I remember talking actually to my mother, and it was like, wah, 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 wah. You couldn't understand each other. And at that point, that's when I knew that this is going to be huge. I mean, this is going to be something that is going to impact this city, because I mean, the team, they played Helena and just got spanked. Like, it was embarrassing. And then Bozeman came in the following week and just kicked the crap out of them. But, who cares? Like I said, by the second period, somebody dropped gloves and
Right,
fought.
I was
That's
going to say,
all that matters.
you still had a good fight,
We
right?
still had a fight, yeah. And I remember every time Yellowstone came to town, there was a line brawl. I mean, It was like, and I remember there was a kid named Todd Sowers. He was our fighter along with another kid. And I to this day, I don't forget the look where he looks back towards the coach, and I can see his eyes, and I look at the coach, and it's like he gives him the wink. And then the gloves just in the air. And you knew it was on,
boy.
and then all of a sudden, you got 20 gloves on the ground. You got guys just pounding the crap out of each other, and the crowd could care less what the scoreboard read, because, I
Right.
mean, come on.
This is hockey.
This is hockey.
Yeah, probably because that was, that's probably all that some of those fans knew.
Well, the thing
about
is
hockey.
they had...
I have seen one professional hockey game in my life. It was the first time I ever saw a hockey game. But, didn't know what was going on. But you knew something like that was going to happen.
Exactly.
It was the North Stars and the Blackhawks, I think.
Oh,
And-
so there's huge
yeah,
rivalry
so,
there.
yeah, it was Thug City. And that was
Yep.
my first exposure to hockey some, I don't know, 30-some years ago. But,
Yeah. And that's what it was.
we need to take a little break.
We do.
And when we come back, I guess we will have to jump into kind of the progression of things and
Sure.
all that which has happened the last couple of weeks with the franchise.
You bet. Michael Burks for another segment when we come back on Sports Talk Tonight. We're back. Sports Talk Tonight, brought to you in part by CHS Mountain West Co-op, Western Montana's source for Cynics fuel, feed, fertilizer, clothing, and tack for over 75 years. And Jerry Wessel's Tire Center, locally owned Les Schwab Tire Center, provides the best tire value promise. Visit them online at jerrywesselstireCenter.com.
All right, we are back with our guest, Michael Burks, and he's been reminiscing about the, which is really fascinating, by the way. That was a fun story to hear you tell it. Kind of the origins of Missoula Maulers and junior hockey in Missoula, and things have changed drastically for you in that area. It was announced, there was a press release, I think I got it on Thursday night. It just kind of stunned me there for a minute that the Missoula Maulers ceased operations, and hence you've been going through quite a bit in the last 7 to 10 days since that's been announced. Can you kind of walk us through a little bit about how it all happened? Or
Sure. Basically, again, like I said, we had a 9-year lease. Nothing changed whatsoever.
That was with
the Glacier Ice Rink.
Okay.
And it's now public knowledge, so we all can tell that, between the rink improvements and the operations of the Missoula Maulers, it's been over $1 million loss for me, but I don't consider it loss. It's just investment, whatever you want to call it. And last year was very bad. It was a $133,000 loss, and which
Was that travel?
it's everything. It's everything. The biggest difference is when we were in the ADUB, we had Helena and Great Falls and Butte and Bozeman, and the way the schedule worked was very beneficial to us, because what we did is we'd have a game on Friday night at home, and then if the Grizz were in town, we would be on the road Saturday. And it allowed those 100 to 150 mile, 200 mile trips, allowed us to have a 1-game trip and then come back home.
Not stay the night,
And
not
not-
pay hotels.
Exactly. And so what we did, we had 24 paid home games, which were all on Friday or Saturday nights. So that's where you make your money. Well, without getting a lot of details, I caught the Helena Bighorns cheating, black and white, 72 pages of illegal players, point fixing, the whole thing, blah, blah, blah. I presented it to the board of the AWHL, and they voted me down 7-1 to do anything about it. So I said, okay, I'm done. Helena's cheating our fans. They're cheating our players. If you guys still want them to, go 48-0 because they're cheating and run the league, then you guys can do it by yourself. Because
can you give an example of that? What makes a player an illegal player at that level?
well, they were playing 2 Swedes that were not authorized to play through USA Hockey, and we all knew it. They never registered them. They weren't insured. If they would have gotten hurt, there would have been a lawsuit beyond lawsuit because they were not authorized to play.
Just a couple of hired guns.
Basically, they brought some pro players in, and once somebody's pro, they can't play in our league. So I had it all. I still have it all. I don't reminisce on it at all. But bottom line is that it was there, and they squirmed and squealed and made every excuse in the book and blah blah blah. And they basically said, "Look, we don't want the league to look bad because they got caught cheating." To me, the league looks worse because everybody knew they were cheating, and standing up and saying, "You know what, we're not going to let this happen anymore," is way more credible than putting it under the carpet, because when everything you put under the carpet, it kind of builds up, and then all of a sudden you trip over it, and you're on your nose, and that's what happened. So then I contacted the Western States. I've known who they were, and I basically called them up and said, if you want the Maulers, are yours. If you don't, we'll go to BCHL. Either way, we're not going to play in this league anymore. Didn't matter where we went. The Western State, obviously, is just spread all over. There are 30 teams in 12 or 15 different states. And the difference between the schedule writing of the old NORPEC and A-Dub with having 1 and 1 and 1 and 1, home and away, is that the teams are coming from long distances, so they have to play here 3 games. So what happens is, instead of having a home game every Friday night like we used to have, which had huge attendances, now we have a 3-game series, kind of like the Osprey, where you look at the schedule and go, okay, I'm going to go Saturday night because I have my choice. Instead of, there's only one Maulers game this week, Friday night, put it in the calendar, you got to go. And so our attendance went from an average of about 1,700 to an average of about 1,200 because people don't have enough money to spend all weekend long. Well, the first year in the Western States, we had Sunday paid games, and the attendance was just dismal, horrible. So the second year, what I did is I went to First Security Bank and said, I don't want to ever have these kids play in front of 100 people again. So what they did, First Security Bank did, is they paid for all the cost of game day operations. They paid for basically gave us some money to pay for the ice and pay for some employees to run the game. Well, that's all good, but you're still breaking even that game. And so we lost 8 Friday night games paid and replaced them with 8 Sunday games free. No revenue.
If all the other things had not happened, would you have remained in that Western States Hockey League, or were you shopping another league?
The A-Dub? The old A-Dub?
Yeah.
I wanted to stay in the A-Dub. I had really good friends in that old league. Really close to Jim Keogh and Dwayne Dillinger and all of them. I was close to all of them. I just couldn't stand Mike Butters, the owner of Helena, because I knew he was cheating. And, they'd come on our ice and they would beat us at home and they'd win the title every year, and it wasn't legit.
But if all of this had not happened last week, the 2016-2017, you still would have been in the Western States Hockey League, do you think?
Absolutely, because it wasn't a money thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've actually, our AG, I can say our because Butte's going to be in it. Our AGM is next week, and Butte's going to be down there representing it. I have no problem with the league, and I have no problem losing money. That had nothing to do with any decision whatsoever. The problem is this year, normally the Maulers get about 3rd or 4th choice of ice, maybe 3rd choice of ice. A couple youth tournaments, a couple adult tournaments. Okay, here you go. Well, this year when I got my dates, it was after every youth tournament, like 6-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 12-year-olds, adult tournaments, curling, figure skating, you name it. Anything that happened on that ice, they had the time, and we didn't. And basically they left me open like 7 weekends, and 4 of them were Grizz home weekends. Well, I can't host these teams in hotels because there's none available on Grizz weekends. I would have literally no place for them to stay. Plus, nobody's going to come to a game on Saturday after a Grizz game. I mean, you're probably had a couple of cocktails, maybe, maybe 1 or 2, and you're probably not in the best frame of mind to drive to the hockey rink. And after a game in October, November, I don't think you want to go from the game into an ice rink because you're probably still frozen solid from being at the game. So there's just a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense to host a Maulers game during that game. So then they also blocked out every weekend in November, December, so we couldn't have our teddy bear toss. And that is my favorite by far promotion that we've done. That's by hands down. I don't care about hockey.
And what was that? What is the teddy bear toss?
Oh, what we do is we have all the fans bring teddy bears to the rink, and when the Maulers score their first goal, everybody throws the bears on the ice. And then I bring them to my house, and I lay them. The entire house is full of bears because they're wet. They're soaking wet. And then I put the heat at 100 degrees in the house, and we sleep outside because you can't even, because I have 2 days to dry them out. Because Monday, all the players and the mascot, we load up in cars and vans, and we go all over the city, and we give these bears to kids in the hospital and, Watson Children's Center and the YWCA. And it's awesome. And I love it. I go and just watch, what a junior hockey team is doing for the community. And then they blocked out every single weekend in March. And that's when our playoffs are. So I came back with, and then I called my commissioner and I said, this is what's going on. And he said, well, you can't play. If you don't have 10 open weekends, you can't play. You are in violation of the AGM, the bylaws, and you cannot put a team on the ice with those dates. So I went back to the rink and said, I can't do this. And they said, sorry, whatever. Well, in the meantime, the lease was being renegotiated, and we got a lease back, and all of a sudden, all these extra costs were in there, and they wanted a percentage off dashboards and everything else. And so the email is out there. It's public. And I basically said, look, I lost $133,000 while you guys have made money hand over foot with all the programs. And, you went from 30 adult teams to 90. Youth hockey has exploded. Ice sports have exploded. I'm not going to say we took all the credit for that, but I got to think we had something to do with it. The next generation of youth hockey is 3 times of what it was 10 years ago. So they came back with, sorry, can't help you. And so it was kind of like, what's going on here? Well, then I saw the lease, and I replied to the lease and said, we lost a lot of money. Please look elsewhere for additional funds, fundraise, do anything else. There's so many different things you can do, because they had a compressor go down or something like that. It was a $60,000 expense. But now I've learned that they sell insurance for that stuff. And so every rink in the nation has insurance for their compressors, and it's usually $1,000 deductible. So this $60,000, $70,000 cost they're crying about could have been covered with insurance if they bought insurance like everybody else does. So I said, I'm not going to pay extra. I'm sorry. After 9 years and the rink improvements and what we've done for everything else, I don't feel that I should have to pay extra. And so they came back and said, well, then we're done. So at that point, I'm tired. I just said no. And that press release that I sent out, that I had my attorney send out, was very, very informal. It didn't have any names. It didn't have any reasons. It just said basically, we have come to an impasse, which, as you see in their email, that was the way they said it. We're at an impasse. It's not going to happen. So we're done.
So increased fees for you, impossible to navigate restrictions on your schedule. Do you feel like, for whatever reason, or whatever between you two in the past, you were being, it sounds like, based on what you've told us here tonight, you were just kind of being set up to fail.
I can't speak for anybody else, but I can say that I just felt like the junior team wasn't appreciated. It was a double-edged sword. The more popular we got, the less time we got. And it got to the point where one passed the other. And, if I can't operate, then we can't do anything. And, and I'm going to be public about it. The lease wasn't that catastrophic. It probably was an extra $5,000 a year. It wasn't the end of the world. But to me, it just was kind of an insult. If you need $5,000, go find somebody that didn't lose $133,000. I don't have any more money to give to this program. I'm okay with what we did, and I would do it until the city didn't want it anymore. But at one point you just have to go, I've given up my winters for 9 years. I put the Maulers, you have no idea how much time and effort it takes to do this, put this stuff on. And I put my family aside for 9 winters. And obviously, $1 million. And I just, I talked to my wife about it, and she said, maybe it's time. So I talked to my attorney, and he said, I can't say what he said.
Thank you. I don't have the.
Come on, I come close to that line all the time, Michael.
I don't have the profanity delay engaged. So thank you very much for that.
So my attorney recommended that we just basically just go and just call it quits, and so we did.
Can you comment on what you see as the? I know there's been some talk about this. Can you talk about what there might be at that level of hockey in Missoula in the future?
Yes.
I know it doesn't include you, but
I can tell you this for a fact that the moment the announcement was made, the NA3, which is the old A-Dub that have the teams in Helena and blah, 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 and the Western States both are literally like the Kentucky Derby right now on a race to fill the slot. And I have let Ron White, the commissioner of the Western States, know that I don't want to see what I work so hard to create to go away. So whatever team comes in here, I will work with that team until they know everything I know and don't make any of the mistakes I made, because I don't want to see junior hockey fail. I want to see it succeed. I want to see Missoula win a championship. We came close a lot of times. I don't. This is not a spiteful thing. This is not, I hope whoever comes in here falls on his face. I literally want to have 15 to 2,000, 2,000 people at the home opener next year. I've talked to Marcus Baxter, and I publicly said that he's my biggest priority right now. I want to make.
He's the head coach.
He's the head coach of the Maulers. He's been my head coach for 6-7 years, and I've told the 2 or 3 people that have contacted me about wanting to start a team here, as well as the commissioner, that this is what he's going to make. This is what I paid him, and I'm not going to help anybody unless they pay what he deserves. And at that point, I will then step up and assist in any way I can. We kind of have an issue, though. While Laura Henning was on TV explaining to Missoula that she was hopeful that we could negotiate a settlement here or figure out something that was going on, their attorney was demanding me to get all of our property out of the rink immediately. And so bottom line is that the lease is over June 30th. So we first told them that, hey, this is kind of a shocker right now. We're not ready to go in there and start moving stuff out. Well, the big problem is that the bleachers, the sound system, the lighting, the locker room, everything there is not rink property. It's mine. And I'm not looking to be a jerk, but they're assets that need to be compensated for. And so we've told them that. You're more than happy to purchase these things, but, if you want me to get my stuff out of here and you have an attorney writing me a certified letter saying so, then I'm going to have to abide by your commands and your wishes, and we're going to start disassembling things. I don't want to do things like that because I don't want to hurt the sport. But when you have an attorney demanding something, you got to do it, because I don't want a lawsuit because I didn't take the bleachers out. So there's still a little bit of a little drama here, and we're trying to figure out an amicable way of making the transition work, be successful, and allow hockey to continue without any more legal BS. And it's just one of those things where, you're like me, 5 days ago, everything was great, and now all of a sudden there's no more Maulers, and now I got to get the rink, I got to get stuff out of the rink, and I got a bus to do. I don't know what to do. It's like, let me get
process this for a second.
Before I start disassembling stuff and and stuff like that, because I don't want that to happen. And if the new team, which I hope they call it the Missoula Bruins to coincide with the youth hockey program, I think it would be a great way to come in as a partner with youth hockey. If they're in the Western States, the Butte Cobras are going to come to town, and I think we probably might need some extra law enforcement officials, because I think it might be a little rowdy. I'm not going to instigate anything, but if Butte comes in here and beats Missoula, you're going to have probably 150 or 200 cocky Butte fans mouthing off to a bunch of drunk, upset Missoula fans, and we all know what happens there. So, there's just so much stuff to deal with right now.
Exactly.
And again, this happened Thursday. And the reason for the press release is I just wanted to bow out silently and go on with my life, with my family and stuff. And the last 72 hours have been, I can't even describe what my kids are going through. My kid's in college right now, and he's more concerned about me than his finals. My wife is a basket case in the corner of the room, can't even stop crying just because of what the reaction has been in Missoula regarding the situation. The Missoulian comments on Facebook and their website and stuff, and then you try to ignore it, and then you have, 100 people that love you. Oh, I'm so sorry what they're doing. I don't want to hear about it anymore. I just want to close this chapter, and I want to get I get my winter back for the first time in 9 years. I can go snowboard with my kids now. I got weekends back, and I just want to take advantage of the situation and enjoy hockey again. And my biggest thing is the last year and a half has been very stressful with both teams. It's very time consuming, and I want to like hockey again. I really do. That's my goal, is just actually enjoy watching hockey again.
Well, we are just about out of time, so we're honored that you let us help you close the book.
Thank you very much, Danny. I appreciate it. And,
Great seeing you.
Yeah, you as well, and thank you for the 9 years of support here. You guys have been absolutely, between you and Angel and Billy, have been just phenomenal for supporting our organization.
Thank you, Michael. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
All right, buddy.
When we come back, we'll close it up. Sports Talk Tonight. We're back. Sports Talk Tonight. 1 minute left, Denny. What do we got going on here?
Well, we've got your Steel of the Week, of course. That brought to you by True North Steel, Western Montana's industry leader in quality manufactured and fabricated steel products. Gurns, the Steel of the Week.
Well, Steel of the Week, the officials in the NBA Western Conference Finals not calling Russell Westbrook on the travel. Bringing the ball up, 17.2 seconds left.
Burks is still here. He's screaming about that one.
Up 3 points, and he travels. They don't call it.
I think that was Butte.
That's my Steal of the Week, Denny.
All right.
Hey, my stupid athlete of the week.
Yes.
Jarvis Cooper, former University of Memphis running back. He gets a Memphis Tiger tattoo on his body, and then 2 months later he transfers. Stupid athlete. I hope he transfers to LSU.
Yeah, I was going to say, did he transfer to somebody nicknamed the Tigers?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or Memphis Teachers College or something, the tattoo might still work. Go, huh?
Yeah. So anyways,
all right.
that's all I got.
All right, second leg of the Triple Crown is Saturday. It is time for our Preakness predictions, and we will pick win, place, and show like we did last time. I see you have not quite finished. You've really been taking this seriously, and I admire you so much for that. You need a little more time to think. Nyquist is the Triple Crown. Nyquist is the Kentucky Derby winner. There you go, Denny. That's what I was trying to say there so hard. I will pick Nyquist to finish second, though. Going to be tough to beat Exaggerator at the Preakness. So you got Exaggerator first, Nyquist second, and third place, the number 10 horse, Fellowship, just because, I feel the
Danny,
Fellowship.
Our Fellowship is why I'm picking Fellowship to show.
To show. Okay.
To show.
So we both got Fellowship to show.
Yes.
That's all right.
And like myself, awesome speed. And who doesn't like a nice bottle of cherry wine, Denny, for the win?
I knew that.
Cherry wine for the win.
I left you the 20 to 1 odd cherry wine because I knew you'd want it. So
I hear a song called Strawberry Wine on your show sometimes.
Dina Carter, very good.
17. Okay, we better go. Sports Talk Tonight, Gurns and Bedard, we're out of here.
I'll see you next Wednesday, man.